So here we are on Enshrouded, and today we're going to be doing the finishing touches. So yeah, this is Hearth Home, and obviously so far we've done the house, we've done all the different rooms in the house. We've also started on the outside. So not only have we done the barn for the livestock, we've obviously done the seed barn as well. Where you'll be growing all your crops, your plants, and everything else, obviously to put out in the fields. I'm not going to show you how to do the fields. That's stupid. Everybody knows how to plant, and I'm pretty sure according to your character, what you're going to want to plant out there, how you want to make them pretty. That's entirely up to you. But one thing I would say is it's the little details on the outside of your house and your home that can, really make a difference sometimes. And one of the things you want is, a nice entranceway into your house. And here at Harvest Homestead, we happen to have one such thing here. So there's this feature right outside, which is rather nice. And so what we're going to do is rebuild this here, slightly differently, but we are going to rebuild it and make this a feature. So as you come up into here, we want to make this look good. At least I believe we're making this look good. He says, having trouble hitting this thing. Okay. Now, we are what? One over. And knowing my depth perception, but I believe it's about that height. I believe, and we can always correct that. It's not going to be too much of a problem. We are also going to need to rebuild this. Now, in case you're wondering, this is rough cut stone I'm using, which is what the bridge was originally made of. Now you can already see that even with my bad depth perception, even I can see that's too short to begin with. So we'll go one more up there, and I think it's actually one more than that. To actually try putting a top on it just to see. That would be helpful. Of course, that would be far too sensible for me. And then let's out, one in. Yep, use that as a marker. Okay. Like I said, I can always square this up. Okay. Now, simple things. Okay, and let's fix this. Now, obviously, it's not that big a deal, but I'm going to fix that little bit of rubble there. I'm going to remove this as well. There we go. Move that and replace that. There we go, so we have little barriers on the side of the bridge, which is especially important for people like myself who have a tendency to run along these things and throw themselves over for one reason. That's out. Need to correct that before we go on. There we go. Right, now let's go and get the archway that we want to use. or at least get the wood that we want to use. I believe I've left it in here. City wall blocks. Okay, now I'm going to use the Albanese or the boreal wood. Don't think as yet that we have these wooden archways included. Now I know Keen did an awful lot of things that were already in the game, potential assets and that, but I don't think they did this wooden arch here, which is really nice. Not gonna lie, I would love to have that archway. I'd like to have some slightly bigger archways as well, because there are ones for obviously, you know, a 4 meter wide block. I'd like one that is 8 meters, so you could do a double entryway. That would be very nice. Of course, we'll actually have to wait and see what they have planned, as I know they're doing a lot more with the Shroud at the moment. Shroud updates dropping soon. Be interesting to see what terrors they have in store for us. And the other thing is, I can't remember if they have base raids coming up in this. Obviously, we already have some Shroud wandering patrols planned, but whether they're dropping in this update or not, I can't remember. And if they are, it seems that pretty soon we're going to have to do something about keeping your bases tactically covered as well as looking pretty, which, to be honest with you, I've played games like 7 Days to Die. Just one thing I always do is try to make my bases in any game, you know, what I like to call pretty but practical. In other words, yeah, they need to be able to work. You need to be able to fend off the enemy, whether it's zombies, you know, dinosaurs, or whatever game you're playing, you know, you need to be able to fend these creatures off and defend your base. But in the same time, you know, in the same way, that doesn't mean that you have to live in a shithole. You know, you can do these places up, you know, you can make them look good. So yeah, absolutely, practicality first. You know, it's no good building your very pretty Barbie house base and having, you know, the fell creatures just wander in and obliterate it. You know, that would be pointless. But, you know, in the same breath, yeah, I'm pretty sure you could make it very, very practical. Make sure you can fend them off, but at the same time, use some small touches to, you know, make it look good too. You don't have to make it pretty, but just make it look good. There is a way of blending style and substance. I'm sure Cyberpunk 2077 would disagree with me. Style over substance, best we know. But to my mind, you can do style and substance. That's a shame. I thought I had a tarred roof in here ready for it. And it would appear I do not. Looks like we'll be going for a straw roof on the top. Let me just check my boxes. And I've actually had a bit of a tidy up on here, because let's face it, I'm normally stood in front of all the blue boxes down by the flame altar. Wrong one. This one. Yes, I've had a bit of a tidy up. I got sick of logging in and finding blue boxes everywhere with everything in it. So I've had a little bit of a sort out, a little bit of a tidy up. And no, I do not have the pitched roofs or the tarred roofs. That's a shame. I would have used those. But for the purpose of this video, we'll use what we have. In fact, come to think of it, I don't have one in my inventory, so I do have the red tiles. We're going to be using the red tiles. The house has red tiles on it. We're going to be using the red ones. I personally, my own preference, I would use the, as I say, the black tarred tiles, or I might even use the new ones again from the Albanese. And that's the decorated. I forgot what they call that. It might be decorated granite. Now, I'm not going to lie, I normally have a problem doing roofs. That's why I don't mind fixing up roofs, but yeah, if I actually have to do them, then I'll normally be found having a fit over these things. I try to connect them, try to fit them correctly, and I end up with them just going everywhere but where I want them. I find them not as painful as dealing with the goats, but I have to say, there are times when I'm not on video where the air turns blue. Not gonna lie, that is definitely a thing sometimes. Right, let's place you in there. Oh. Oh. There. Oh, we need one more there. We need just one more. Come on, don't be like that. Just one more, you scumbag. There we go. Ah! Did I just... Oh, god damn it. Okay, I'm happy with that. Am I though? He says from this position up here. Am I actually happy with it? Yes, I am. Okay. Good, good, good. Let's crack on. So, what we're going to need first of all, yep, decorations afterwards. I want these out there, because as always, I definitely want some lights. I find these brighten up the area quite nicely. So at least as I'm running along, I won't fall into the little the brook or stream that's running past there. That was slightly higher. There we go. Okay. Again, feel better about that. There we go. Nice big ugly face there to greet you on the way in. Any Cyclops that feel like coming and visiting, just let them know this is what happens. There we go. Now obviously you don't have to have a Cyclops head on each side. Optional. You know, for my personal choice, I'm going to. Right, these statues. We've gone to the end there. Now that's going to cover up there. And quite possibly there if we were to put them out the front. Let's get rid of you. They're actually a nice touch. It's a shame that you actually can't relight those. Wrong button. Now I want to have those out here, but I also want to have them in such a way that they frame the gate without covering that light source. going to place them just to the side. So they can... No, 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 no. I want you standing up straight. Straight up. We don't want you looking like you've been hitting the whiskey. And they are too far away, in my opinion. See, so they need to come out a bit. Go, and how are you? What we could do is always make those pillars just slightly larger, place at the back of them, but I'd be happy enough with those there. Obviously I could fiddle around with it for ages. I may actually even have the torches just on the inside maybe, but no, I'm happy with that as it is for the moment. We'll do. Hopefully those flames help to illuminate us at night. From the looks of it, we'll soon get to see. Don't feel like we need the statues this side as well. One thing I am going to do, start having us a nice path out here. Going to go for circular. Now what I'm doing is putting the wrong thing in. So undo that. So again, what I'm doing here is with the terrain tile, you can use what you've got there. Remove that area first and then place. Again, move it. And I don't want it too low, but I don't want it too high either. I'd rather have a nice smooth road. Let's try and have that the same level. There we go, so that's making it nice and wide enough to head along. Without any holes in it though. Now I plan on doing more with that bottom range anyway. As you know, I've said, we have done quite a bit with the house, which is wonderful, but as yet we have nowhere really for our NPCs. And at least, I mean, with any of this, you know, you get the same amount of land regardless where you are. It's just that Harvest Homestead happens to have a lot of open land here, and you could create that for yourself anyway, no matter what build you were using. But here I intend to use the fields down the bottom. I would probably build some separate housing for the NPCs. I like building at the end of the day. Now, you know, if you're not particularly into the whole building thing, I mean, you could quite easily use the barn up here and convert it. Just stick beds in there. Just stick tons and tons of beds in there, put them all down there, slam a door on the front there, boom, there you go, there's your NPCs housed. If that's your thing. Obviously, you know, I like building, I enjoy building. I plan on, well, video it possibly, but plan on putting maybe some housing down the bottom of the fields, and maybe even some shops like an apothecary, you know, a weaponsmith, something like that. But for the moment, at least, we have our path heading down there, and I'll put those all the way down. One thing we're definitely missing here. Besides a lot of patience on my part. I'm going to move you back there. Right. Yeah, you would just be doing that, wouldn't you? Fine, I didn't need your sunlight anyway. Damn you. I mean, yes, we already have some torches out the outside the gate there. You know, they shouldn't be too difficult to miss the gates, but it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of light on the path coming up here. Now, it's almost a shame that I had to light my lights there to be able to see, because it would have been far better. I'm going to first person, does that get me? So, nope. Yes, of course I can't. There we go. I'm trying to ignore the light I'm giving off, but as you can see, yeah, get rid of the little red plates. As I said, it's a shame that I had to put my light on to actually be able to see there. But otherwise, you can see that, you know, that little lamppost there, and if you have those down here, that would provide more than enough light, I would say, you know, along this path. And obviously, we have fires outside of our crossing there. Now, head to the other side. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. I only have a couple of finishing touches that I would like to do on the gate, and I don't have the materials on me, but I'm thinking we may well fast forward it to daytime. Don't know what I need in there. Did I put them in there? I did not. Like I said, not always the most organised of people, me. And yes, even though I try to cut down on the running backwards and forwards, I never seem to quite manage to achieve that, to be honest. Oh well, never mind. I also have the nights on quite speedy, so hopefully nighttime should be done pretty soon. As you can see though, even when I don't get close, you can see there's more than enough light there, and I'm sure anybody else will be able to see, you know, well enough there. There we go. One more. Okay, so at least we have. Feel like that's better. I was going to say, I was about to run the character and jump into bed so that we have some morning. But as you can see, we now have some light coming up. But there you have it. You know, we now have a nice little entranceway. You know, you don't have to overdo it. Use the decorations that you want to, but you don't need to go OTT with it. You know, I feel like I put enough decoration on there to make it, you know, interesting, a nice entrance piece without overdoing it. What I don't like is this slime bed under here. Is it noticeable? Are people really going to look at it? Probably not. But, yep, it's certainly enough to bug me. So, what I'm going to do is this. Now, this is where I get stuck in the mud. Now, you know, I would highly recommend that, you know, if you're not at the stage where you want to use ice, or maybe you're not at the stage where you can get ice, you know, that's fair enough too. You could always use the blue luminescence, and I bet you what, I bet that would look fantastic at night. You know, you'd have all of this little ditch area here, absolutely glowing that beautiful blue glow at night, giving off more than enough light. You know, at that point, even if you didn't need light over your gate entrance there. If you have that blue glowing going on, you definitely wouldn't need any extra light at that point. Now, I'm probably going a bit too far with this. You probably wouldn't need to, you know, do as much as this. You know, if you really wanted to get fancy, you know, get yourself some nice flower soil. I think you can, there are some patches for that up or near the Black Mire you can get. And I might go along and do some of those along the banks here. But I think we've gone far enough there. And that feels better, rather than having all that, you know, sloppy, slimy mud down there. And again, you've got more than enough farmland to be going on with here. You know, not going to claim to know everybody's plans for their farmlands, but for most people, there's, you know, you'll have more than enough land here to plant the crops, to create the food for the buffs that you need. Which means you may well have some field spare. Now, as I've already mentioned, down the bottom I plan on putting some NPC accommodation. It's Harvest Homestead, you know, village or something. Not quite there yet. But then one of the other things you could do is, if you don't want all of your animals up by the barn, you could quite easily turn one of these, you know, make a barn, put it in one of these fields, fence it off, and have your animals out in the fields, up and roaming, you know, as well as having your crops and stuff out of here. Let's face it, with this amount of space, you can pretty much do what you want to. Again, I'm probably doing this with a little bit. And yes, I'm well aware that pretty soon this starts sliding down and heading into the Shroud, and no, we're not going to be doing that. As funny as I'm sure that would be, I'm pretty sure some people would find that hilarious. But no, I have no plans on going over that edge, which I see ahead, even with my eyesight. And we are not going to be doing that, as amusing as that would probably be. There. That's enough. So there we have it. You know, now we have our little stream running past. Feels like we're bringing this place back to probably what it was, you know, before the Shroud. So we have it each way. We don't have running water yet, so it's not like we can make a little waterfall at that end. But if I could, I would most definitely have a little waterfall just there. Don't think it's possible. Yeah, that's really That's kind of the best we can get, and I can't even I don't think we can fine tune this stuff. No, we can't fine tune this stuff. We can only rotate. I don't know if anybody knows a way of maybe turning that into waterfall. Probably as close as we're getting there. Right? Hey. Like I said, that is probably as close as we're getting for anywhere near the damn waterfall, at least for the current time. And who knows, once they bring the water out in the next... when they bring out the water biome, we still don't know whether you'll be getting water blocks to build with, whether you'll be able to have water and include those kind of features at your bases. We don't know. That would be nice, but we don't know whether water will actually stay in the water biome. Very interesting to see how they'll deal with water in a voxel-based game. Not gonna lie, I'm more than a bit curious to find that out. Right, so feel like we've dealt with that thing. So now over here. Okay. I'm going to place this box back down here. Yeah, that's right. I'm filling up the area. So I've just tidied it up and here I am filling it up again. Right, let's drop the stuff in there. That's all of that stuff. I don't feel like I need it. Fine. Now, coming up here, we need to do something about this. First things first. Let's get that. In fact, let's just take all of you out of there. Okay. No, I don't want you. What I want is you. And I don't want you. I want the city wall blocks. There we go. There. There. So I'm just extending this out just a bit here. Slightly more of the courtyard. And there. Yeah, let's stay away from the damn goats. They not really annoy me. And I'm going to go for a double way up, I think. Just there. There we go. Now that means I should be able to. As I said, it would be kind of nice if we had some double size entrance ways. Did I manage to place that? I did. Getting better, maybe, hopefully. There. Okay, that's good enough. No, not what I wanted. Slip you onto there. Or not. I want you just there. I don't like it too much when they stick over. I like to be able to place them like that. And you can see that's not exact. I may... You know what, there's the part of me that would go back if I had the time. If I wasn't videoing, I would actually go back and place that so that it was absolutely square with the other. Same as this one. Yeah, we do have those corner posts, if I remember correctly. I may either put the fence corners in there, or just try it, see whether it works. would bring another touch of light. See, I would either put the fence corners in, or I would use these. We can slot those in properly. Yeah, I would have you there. Might even be nice to have a set of statues here. I like the statues they've got actually, but it's just that I feel the Queen of Pikemead statue would be a little bit too big for this front entrance. I almost feel like if you was to come up here to the building, you really wouldn't notice the building through the statues. And unfortunately, I feel like the Cyclops as well, they're fantastic. They are absolutely fantastic. I love the statues. I am not complaining about the statues. I love them. I think they're brilliant. But I think to place them this close at the front of the building would take away from the building itself. You'd walk up here and all you'd see is statues. You know, that would be the first thing that takes the eye, and that's not really what we want. Or rather, that's not really what I want. If you are a great lover of statues and you want that, you go ahead and do that. I'm not going to tell you how you should have your stuff. Now, managed to do it over the other side. This person. I think there might be okay. There we go. Okay. Yes, I think I'm okay with that. That looks reasonable. Okay, so at least now we have this. This is our courtyard. We have this going over here. All of those. Might use that side bit for something as well. So to be fair, you could use that for planting actually. You can use those seed beds for planting. Yeah, we have the soil on us. So if I wanted to convert these, I would, let's head over. And I want materials. I mean, you could always just dismantle these, or what I do, and this is very much the lazy man's. There we go. Farm soil. Understand, this is very much the lazy man's way of doing it. So I just place this on there and then remove, place, remove, place. And it would help if you had the right shape. You muppet. There we go. I'm actually going to leave that in, because as usual, I'm a big fan of leaving silly stuff in. There we go. Now I'm using the right shapes, but you can see. So you can keep the little parts there without getting rid of them. But you would now actually be able to plant plants in there because you have farm soil in there. And as you can see, it sticks out here a bit, so if you're very particular about it, see, you can trim off the side bits here. I can't remember, one person in the comments, I think it was Anna S, said what she likes to do is actually sink plant pots into them to make them more of an authentic flower bed, to really make them a bit more bright and a bit more beautiful. So that way you could either do that and use them as flower beds, proper flower beds, or you could plant things in there. Although I would suggest with the spacing of the plants, you probably wouldn't be able to fit too much, those little planters. But it does mean that, again, if you want to go pretty, you could put your flower pots in there, make it a very nice flower bed. Or you could alternatively, you know, place some crops in there. You wouldn't be able to get many, but if you're a practical person, you could probably put a few in there. Okay, we're starting to look a lot better here. Now, the house itself. Now, if there's one thing I like to do, mostly because I am forgetful. I know, who would have believed it? But certainly for the house itself, I would be inclined to have these at the door. go. This one's a little bit too far over. I would... Okay, he's going to need... Yeah, you need picking up. I don't want you to stick. I want you coming out slightly. But I do want you over there. Okay. The reason I would place those there is one, good decoration. And two, it means that whenever I come out of here, you know, you come out, you've been sleeping in your bed, the night time's gone past, and, you know, you come out of here, take your blessing, then go out and do your quest or whatever you're doing. And those, the Vuka ritual statues, if you have those and you can get the blessing off those, they're fantastic. They are absolutely marvellous. Again, it would be very nice if these worked. But they don't. So let's have some that work. And okay, no, I've only got one of those. Okay, that's because I've got the rest of them on my hotbar. Now I find these don't give out as much light. They're much more of a gentle light, these. Which I find is good, because with the house you have enough light going on in there anyway, so as you're approaching here you'll have, even I will have enough light to see by. Like to further decorate just a little bit by putting the emblem on the door there. It just gives it a little bit more detail there. And if I can, this is one of the few places I've found where the entrance is big enough. Where do I have it? No, not you. We can delete you. Definitely not using you. You're in the other box. So I know for a fact I placed you in here. There we go. If you have taken out the Iron Fell Dragon Youngling, which I'll be honest with you, this character hasn't. This character of mine here has not taken out the Dragon Youngling. So if it was not for a PR world, I would not be using this. Though to be fair, two of my other characters have done. I just have limited time, but let's place that up there and see how it looks. Let's make sure it's not too big for the buildings. If it is, it will just overtake everything. I don't know about... That's not too bad. That's not too bad. I was a bit worried for a moment that that would be too big and it would take over the building. As you walked up, you saw nothing but the dragon's head. Which would be amusing if the mouth was open. You could create that as part of the door. You'd sink it into the ground and make that so you walk into the dragon's mouth to get in. I don't think it would look looking much like a farmstead then, but, you know, crazy ideas and all. Okay, so we now have that bit of decoration there. We have the house. Now, out here, can do, just as an added touch. Now, again, you know, they don't have, per se, water features as such in this game at the moment. He says stood right in front of a well. Yes, I know you're going to mention about the well. That's fine. I understand what you're saying. But sometimes the absence of water, this will add more than enough added light. Now I'm placing this one just here. I would probably be a bit more selective about exactly where I placed it. To be honest with you, I'm not sure that necessarily here is the best. Might have actually placed it a bit more there. But again, for the sake of this, let's just remove you. There we go. Sink you down. What I'm doing is as always, I'm placing it and then removing it so it carves out these chunks. What I'll do is push you into there, you into there. Now, this is the closest we have to water at the moment, really, without using the ice. You can most certainly use the ice. But this is what we have currently. And what I'm going to do is... You're empty. Why did I do that? You can't rule out stupidity at this point. Right, let's get you. And again, I'm going to use these. Let's go first person there. There. I do like the fact you can plant some trees as well. I would probably have a row of trees and I would probably use some hedges as well. Mask off this area. Probably just down the front. Okay. No, I don't like that. I would rather use the... Yep. I did. Here's some I did earlier. Now, if you didn't like them this high, you could sink them in a bit lower if you wished. I personally like mine there, because I know damn well when I run out, I'm probably going to end up running over it. And also, I want this really as decoration on mine. There we go. So we have that around there. Now, one thing I know I do not have here is stone benches. Let's have one here. Yeah. So yes, you'll be sitting right by here with your back to it. Now obviously you could put these further away so you could actually have, you know, sit here facing it. I'm assuming people are sitting here listening to the very mellow sound of the water. At least in my mind, that's what's going on here. Where'd they go? I swear I just... Ah, there they are, right at the end. Yep, right on my left side. Right at the point I have trouble seeing. Of course. Why wouldn't they be anywhere else? Right. We're going to into problems here. Let's take you out. And I'm going to pop you over there, out the way. Drop all of you in there for a moment. And you over there as well. Right, now I'm going to get some decorations around there. I know what I want, but I don't have them on me because it would be too much. But one thing we're missing from around there is most definitely plants. That's what I want. That's the rest of my box plants. I do love the fern pots. They're marvellous. And I did put some more around here somewhere. Where are you? can see there's a whole box dedicated to plants, but somewhere here... Oh, was that it? And if you're starting to look at the screen thinking this is driving me crackers within keep looking at the boxes, I'm beginning to agree with you. We'll use what we've got. Just as an idea. Don't need you anymore. We do need stew. Remember when I used to make just holes in the floor? This is before black mire came out even, and I used to make a slight hole in the floor and I used to put farm soil in it, and I think I used to use the purple berry bushes because they were really quite bushy and quite green, and I would grow them just here to add that touch of green on the corners. There we go. You get the drift though. If you have different coloured, preferably long, it's up to you, but just different coloured flowers to go around here and decorate it up. Now of course you could put them down here, equally so. You could also, if you can use the edger to edge them forward, but you could quite easily have them up here on the very edge as well. So you could have them all the way along the edges there. I'm personally choosing to put them down the bottom here. Like I said, I just want them framed as decoration, and at night time this luminescent blue will look fantastic. As I say, I'd almost be tempted just to have a couple of trees in the background there, you know, and have this as a nice seating area. But again, if this is the closest we've got to water in the game, then you know, then I would use that, because I do like a good water feature. Anything else in any game or any house or any base I have, you know, no matter where I'm building, I do like a good water feature nearby. And even more preferable is if you can hear the water. I find the sound of water very relaxing, to be honest. So when you create a base, answers in the comments if you would please, but what features do you look for when you build a base? What are the key things that you want near your base? Obviously materials, but what else would you look for in an ideal location for your base? But with that, I would say, besides more greenery, plants, some more shrubbery, and I would use hedges probably around here to decorate there, I would say that at least for the time being, and the sake of the length of the video, that we are done for the present time. Obviously there are still a few more to do, but that's it for this episode. So I would just like to say thank you very much for watching and give me your time, and thank you for any comments you make wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a lovely morning, noon or evening, and I hope you have a good time. Bye for now.